Hi, welcome to yet unnamed sideshow that John's gonna start doing rather than John Defends, because I gotta tell you, everybody, another movie review thing is not really what I wanted to do. Um, if you've seen any of John Defends, you know I'm just talking about bad movies. That's pretty much what I do with my podcast. Just Another Horror Podcast, which, by the way, gotta plug that, right? It's on Stitcher, iTunes, Podomatic. And, of course, those of you familiar with the show, I mean, that's how you got to my channel. Um, you know that we just talk about horror movies. I mean, that's all we do. Okay, let me give you a little history of what I had in mind when I made the show. Um, when I was working midnights, that's when I first got into podcasts. I work for the government. I'm not going to get into details, but it's boring. It's very boring, and especially on midnights, you start to lose your mind a little bit. Well, I listened to this show called Yeah, It's That Bad, which was a movie review thing. But what they were really doing was discussing stuff. They were just discussing, and they were using movies as a platform to discuss. And through that podcast, they were able to have discussions about just about anything while maintaining basically a level of, this is a movie podcast. Well, I hope to do the same thing when we made ours. So, I got together with some friends and we made the first couple shows, threw them up on the Internet Archive. Nobody listened to them, which was fine because I was having fun doing it. And now we're over 100 episodes in. I know it's episode 92, but we've done so many. And one thing I've learned is that if you don't give people something to talk about, then they're not going to talk. And so this communication platform that I've set up is not really doing the job. And I had a discussion with a friend today, a really good friend of mine, who told me basically that maybe I should try something else. She told me I'm good at communicating, but I told her I don't really like what I'm communicating about. Don't get me wrong, I love horror movies, I really do. But when you're doing a podcast review on horror movies, basically what you're doing is telling people how you feel, and that's it. I mean, you ask them to send feedback back, but I think when the show's over, they're like, okay, the discussion is over, and that's the end of it. And so, it's not really what I want, So this hopefully will give me an opportunity to talk about other things, I think we live kind of in an age where most communication happens on the internet or, something like that on social media. So, I know that there's old people out there who are like, all right, you gotta talk face to face. We're not living in that time, okay? It's not that we don't have discussions back and forth as human beings. It's that now there are other ways to communicate. And so, these are tools that I'm totally stealing this from somebody else. If you've ever listened to Nothing Forum, listen to Nothing Forum. They're a fantastic show. They cover everything and anything. But they basically said something, and I'm paraphrasing, that we live in an age where this new technology, this social media, is completely, it's untested, it's unproven, nobody knows what to do with it. Nobody knows how to harness it. And, everything is a test run. Everything that you do on it is a test run. So I'm going to take it for a test run and see what this show brings. Let me give you some ideas about things I like to talk about. This sounds like a dating profile. I know. Look, here's some things I like. I like space. Specifically, I like Hawking and Carl Sagan and all that. You know what? I don't know math at all, but I know stuff like just the basics of quantum theory and stuff like that, like, tiny little particle shit and stuff like that. I'd love to learn about it more, and so I read about it as much as I can, and I like to talk about that shit. And I don't get to talk about that on the show because we watch movies like Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, so obviously we're not going to be talking about particle acceleration or quantum entanglement or anything like that. Okay, there's that. Secondly, course, we all like to talk about current affairs, right? No, we don't. But I don't actually like to talk about the actual issues because it's like hitting yourself on the head with a hammer over and over to get a point to somebody else. It doesn't... What I like to talk about is the social dynamics that go on between two sides of an argument. First of all, if you're speaking to somebody face to face, you're getting everything. You're getting the tone of the voice, you're getting the hand motions, you're getting the eye contact, you're getting everything. When you're arguing back and forth about something online, you're missing a lot of that. And so both sides will go into circle arguments, and neither side will, accept that they're wrong or take anything as fact that, goes against their opinion. And so, that's what I like to talk about. And I actually like to talk about the issues because if you're talking, the problem is that you come into places where somebody can't accept that they could possibly be wrong. It's never that they're correct. It's always that the other side is wrong. There's a flaw in their logic. A lot of times, what happens, people use these fallacies to argue their side, and it's just making their argument void, and both arguments become void. And ooh, I hit that table pretty hard, didn't I? Both arguments become void, and it just becomes nothing. It just becomes a cycle of people saying what they think without acknowledging the other person's existence. That stuff's fun to examine because human behavior, it's a weird thing. Okay, let's talk about some other shit. I don't like TV shows. I always hear people telling me that I need to watch this TV show, that TV show. Well, it's difficult for me to watch TV shows. When we have our what to watch, it's usually a movie that I have, or a YouTube video, or something like that. For one thing, these shows, there's no conclusion. And I don't know if this is a bad thing about me or not, but when I'm watching something, I need a conclusion. I need, an end. And these shows go on and on and on and on and on and suck up so much of your time. Life is like this, okay? Life is a continuous stream of 80 years nonstop, maybe less, maybe more, but let's just go with 80. It's 80 years nonstop. It's a stream of 80 years. Sandwiched in different sections of these 80 years are moments that are important that you will always remember. Then there are moments that sometimes you'll think back on fondly. And then there are moments that are just nothing. They're just nothing. They're just empty. Those moments are filled with TV shows. They are filled with them. I mean, they're just... It's more like this. The TV shows themselves have episodes in them that stand out. Then they also have these episodes that do nothing. To get 10 seconds of information out on the development of the storyline, they need a whole entire hour of your time to tell you 10 seconds of information. I can't. I cannot watch TV shows. No matter how good they are, I can't get invested in them. There's just... I don't know. I feel like there's too much else to do. My favorite all-time TV show is that one right there, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It is a cartoon. It makes no sense. There's no storyline. You miss an episode. Who gives a shit? And they're 11 minutes long, so you can do other shit with your life. Am I saying it's the best show ever made? Yeah! But that's my opinion. Of course it's not. It's a cartoon. But yeah, that kind of shit I can handle. An hour every single night to find out the story has advanced 10 feet? No, I can't do it. So... that's me in TV shows. What else is there? Well, I watch other movies besides horror movies. It's just I have a tough time knowing exactly what I like. I don't really like romance. I'm not big on comedy. There are certain movies that really hit home with me that are different, that are weird, that aren't people getting their heads chewed off by animals or something like that. One of my favorite directors is the guy who did Primer and the guy who did Upstream Color, and his name is Shane Carruth. He makes his movies very, very difficult, but you feel like you're getting into them. Primer is about a time travel machine that also clones people. You got to see it like probably 13, 14 times. I don't even know how many times I've seen it. I still don't know exactly what's happening. And Upstream Color is about synchronicity a little bit. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But that's what I took it as. Movies like that make you really think. After the movie's over, you're asking yourself questions and you want to go back and watch it again. Stuff like that I really enjoy. And I don't get that a lot in horror movies. Plus, you know what else? I really am not 100% sure how to convey my thoughts on those movies. The most common word I use is really good. And that, that's not really a critique or anything like that. But the thing is, maybe instead of critiquing them, I'd rather just have a discussion about them. Yeah, that's the point I'm getting at here. The point I'm getting at here is these things that I'm listing that make me sound like some creepy YouTube dater guy are really things I'd like to talk to you people about. You listen to our show, you never write in, you never say hello. What's the matter? Do we smell bad? We do. But I want to communicate with people. It's the whole reason that I made the show to begin with. And 92 episodes in, we've had 10 emails. We've talked to 3 people. Some of them we know. So, I'm hoping that by having this side show, maybe we can branch out. Maybe you and I and even the rest of the people on the show can sort of form a little community where we can have discussions and talk. Because I like to talk. And you know what I don't like? I don't like going into a place like where I work and talking about weather or what I did this weekend or the food that I cooked. Nobody gives a shit. Really, nobody cares. You're filling time with words, and the words are meaningless. I don't like that. I prefer to have an intelligent conversation with somebody about something. Anything. It doesn't matter if it's something I listed or something that you come up with on your own. So that's what this show is going to be. From now on, Cobra can talk about tits, okay? He can have his tit show, and Ben can have his what to watch show, and my show is going to be, remember Non Sequitur? We're going to do Non Sequitur. This is going to be John's Non Sequitur. That's going to be the title. I found the title. It is John's Non Sequitur. So anything that you guys want to talk about, and I don't give a shit what it is, write in at horrorcastings@gmail.com. It's the same email that we give out all the goddamn time. Write in. Or comment down there. Down there. Comment down there. Tell me what you want to talk about. I'll come up with a list of shit about it. I'll talk to you. You talk to me. We'll talk together. We'll talk with other people. We'll grow this little horror community into a community. Like a discussion community or something. It could be fun, or this could be another failed project. We'll see. We'll find out. Thank you. Bye.